What is minimum wage? Minimum wage has been defined as the minimum amount of remuneration that an employer is required to pay wages earned for the work performed during a given period, which can be reduced by a collective agreement or an individual contract. The definition refers to the binding nature of minimum wages regardless of the method fixing them. Minimum wages can be set by statute, decision of competent authority, a wage board, a wage council, or by the industrial or labor courts or tribunals. The minimum wage can also be set by giving the force of the law a provision of collective agreement. The purpose of minimum wage or the importance of it is to protect workers against unduly low pay. They help ensure a just and equitable share of the fruits of progress to all, and minimum living wage to all who are employed and they need such protection. Minimum wages can also be one element of policies to overcome poverty and reduce inequality, including those between men and women, by promoting the right to equal remuneration for work of equal value.
What is Belize minimum wage? Belize minimum wage is the lowest amount of money a worker can be paid for carrying out their job. The Belize minimum wage is applied nationwide to ensure that all workers are not underpaid or taken advantage of. The Belize minimum wage rate is $3.30 an hour. Any amount paid to workers below this is considered illegal. This minimum wage rate has now been used for nearly a decade, as it was last changed in May 26, 2012.
Adult minimum wage applies to all employees aged 16 and over who are not starting out workers in training or involved in surviving or supervising or training other workers. Starting out minimum wage. Starting out minimum wage applies to workers who are about 16 or 17 years old, employees who haven't been or done 6 months of continuous employer. After 6 months is domestic purposes benefit, emergency benefit, independent youth benefit, job seeker support, sickness benefit, sole supporters, parents, supported living payments, unemployment. 18 to 19-year-old employees who have employment agreement states they have to undertake industry training for at least 40 credits. Training minimum wage. The training minimum wage applies to employees aged 20 years or over whose employment agreement states that they have to do at least 60 credits a year of an industry training. Apply to employees who are being trained at work. For an example, by their employer at the start of this employment, it only applies to employees during the approved industry training program. Apply to an employee who is supervising or training other workers. These employees must be paid at least of adult minimum wage.
Disadvantages of minimum wages. It can disrupt the economic system, it can hurt the poor, create unemployment, and does not offer personal growth opportunities, reduces other jobs' benefits. Advantages of minimum wages. It can be helpful depending on what type of market it is. It can reduce tax burden. It also could help with certain families. It can help with setting small business budgets, and it is a common reference while hiring.
In conclusion, we can see that minimum wages has both advantages and disadvantages towards a country. Minimum wage rate stimulates the economic growth of a country by increasing consumption. Consumption is increased because all of the workers nationwide must be paid a certain amount, which means they all somewhat have the same amount of purchase power. However, when minimum wage rate is set too high, it can cause inflation, as businesses and firms would be forced to raise their prices of their goods and services. Still depends on the structure of the labor market. This is why the structure of the labor market and the economy must both be kept in mind when setting the minimum wage rate.